Hi everyone. So we're just here at the waterfront, Mall,
Waterfront.
Karen,
Yep.
and we came here to watch what?
ICHOR.
ICHOR, ICHOR, ICHOR,
ICHOR.
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 Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so today, well, we are going to do it differently again. Well, I'm just going to be. It's sort of a Q&A. I'm going to be asking Esther what was her overall opinion, or how did she
Experience.
perceive the play, or yeah, experience
Perception.
her perception after watching ICHOR.
Yeah.
So let's start from your experience. You got the title. Yeah.
Maybe we start by saying it's Father's Day.
Oh, happy Father's
Happy
Day to
Father's
all
Day
the
to all
men
the
there
fathers in the theater
who are fathers. Yeah.
who are still working in the
In the
theater,
theater,
and
right.
who work in art.
Yeah.
So it was surprising that the piece was being showcased in an art gallery.
Yeah.
And the art gallery is a very famous one that's found at the waterfront. It's called starts with a U.
Oh yeah. Ushirika or
Yeah, something like that.
yeah.
And they've always been champions of art. All in all forms, and they've really wanted to bring out performances, and this is the month I think it's all coming together. So whereas this production was being promoted as breaking the bias type of production,
Yeah.
with
and
what's it
just
called, with this idea of womanhood,
yeah.
and breaking the silence of domestic violence and abuse.
Yeah, and femicide.
Yes, and femicide.
Yeah.
Then you find this piece that's also settled around this conversation on mental health, ways on mental health. And we find that it's a prisoner. Okay, well, that's not the beginning. It begins with
A
monologue from the lady, who talks about how she knows of a lady who abused a judge, raped a judge,
Yeah.
and also known for molesting a 13-year-old or something like that. And then it goes sort of like the plot then does not hold from there. It just
Yeah.
falls apart from there. And it becomes about this man enters who's very weak or whatever, and of course he's fumbling and nervous or whatever, and he's in love, and so because he's in love he's weak. And then it spirals into this conversation about how they're both dead or she's dead. It's really hard to hear at this point because they're not projecting, and this is a room that has art already, like visual arts, and it's a busy room. There's a lot of people, people standing, people sitting, and it was really hard to hear what they were saying from this point of view.
Yeah.
So I can't really say what is what.
What was your idea about the title when you had ICHOR? What came to your mind?
I thought it was ICHOR, which I thought ICHOR. I even thought I was spelling it wrong because I thought it belonged to one of the communities in Kenya, like specifically
Community where the actors come
where
from,
the actors come
writers.
from. The actors, writers, performers.
Yeah.
Let's just say that this play was acted by Samantha Adeti and Brian Orina. And Orina has his own production company called the Journal of Orina. And then Adeti has her own production company, theater production company called Nakagawa Mahaga.
Makagwa. Yeah.
Mahaga. We will get it right.
We'll get it right
at the bottom. And so they've come together as two writers, performers, producers, directors, self-directing each other or themselves, writing together and then performing together. And so you can see how that works and how that does not work. And first of all, the title. So you would think that the title would come from this place where they're from, where they can relate the common place. But it's not. Apparently, it's from a Greek, the Greek language. It's from a Greek word that means blood or something, or these vessels that bring blood. And yeah, so it kind of throws you off, like, whoa, so it's not that, you know, connected to the roots or the environment with which they're making the work from.
Yeah.
And then that springs into the language with which then they're now suddenly speaking with, like words like comprehend, like heavy English
heavy
jargon, the poetry that's old and dated, and you're trying to connect, you know, sentences and what they're trying to say, because all of it seems to be like in another place that's not here. You know, that's not Kenya.
Yeah, that brings me to the question of language, content, and context. And there's a point where the two of them recite sort of a poem that has been lifted from a famous song. You Are the Reason. And they're like, there goes my. So what was your feeling about that?
Really, that question is like for copyright too. I don't know where does copyright live in between this conversation, but yeah, the context then is, you know, taken out from. I wonder whether it's like, okay, I'm going to be a bit more, you know, opinionated here, because I questioned whether it was the fact that they didn't have anything to write there, that the writing was not, you know, needed something to connect it with, to bring us in, that they didn't have, and so they chose a song to like speak a song, to like perform a song in prose. And at the end of it, I don't know whether it worked. For me, it just was like, what? Why? Because with the context with which it was coming in, it was this lady had asked this guy some questions, some very intense questions, you know, why did you kill me? And his answer was a song. You know, and that's where like, where sort of like it's a microcosm of now the whole thing, where nothing is working, you know, no one is resoluting anything, and you know that they've not sat with this work in question. Why are we making this work? It just feels like it's just these actors just really trying to
say something without
not even saying something, just shine, you know, one over the other.
Yeah, and
that goes to the acting. Yeah.
That goes to the acting, and coming back again to, you know, again what the context and the content that we are exploring. I feel right now there's a trend of people bringing in the issue of mental health, and in a way that they want the character to be, they want to say the character was just saying, or the character was already dead and that was just an illusion. So there's this aspect of an illusion in this play, and I remember you asking, are we in purgatory, are we in real life? So was it obvious to, from the acting, did you follow the plot, or what was your journey, for instance?
I mean, it's really, like I said, the plot fell apart from the beginning, because when this sort of man who's described as a weakling for loving a woman, and dedicating his life and devoting his life to this woman, who then we later find out who treats him like, you know, trash. So to me it was actually this theme of feminist toxicity that they were trying to play with, but then they spin it into this mental health conversation where he's actually a prisoner, and she's actually a figment of his imagination, but he had killed her, and so then the plot really just mangles and becomes mangala, to which someone in the audience said, it's the end of the absurd, you know, absurdity, all of it. And I think like the end of the absurd also like reflects life, you know, and sort of anchors on something important that you're trying to say. And you can play, you can divert fully, but always like somewhat in conversation with the audience with where you're going. But this time around they lost us, they fully lost us, like in the plot. Like when he died, towards like in the end there was also a that's towards set.
Now that your mind has brought us to where I really wanted to go next, let's talk about set design and combine it with props and costume.
I don't even know. We walk in and this lady's wearing white and she looks like a bride, and he's wearing black. He looks like, you know, a groom, but like also not wearing a tie, he didn't have a coat on, so you're confused as to what's going on. Why are they contrasting? What's going on between these two contrasting colors? And then that's a costume. To which later he would then take out the top.
And then it's something. the revelation
is like, what
was that thing inside the jacket?
Yeah.
It's a prisoner's.
It's a prisoner's costume that has a Velcro.
Yeah, it has a Velcro
that's open over here, so it looks like a
Mama Boga's. It looks also like a Mama Boga's apron or
exactly
something like that.
Yeah. And she never changes. She's wearing these high, platform heels, and she's constantly walking like in a certain manner. And of course,
the bride that she is.
Yeah, like the bride that she is. He tries to put a bride, veil on her, and that conversation is lost in translation because we can't hear them. They're swallowing their words. It's there's no articulation. There's no, So at the end of it, we're just left with what's going on, and then suddenly, now I'm giving away the plot, but suddenly he falls to the ground, and apparently he's dying. It's a whole story. So according to set, we walk in also on set, and it's two people sitting across from each other on like a stool or like
a dining table,
and there's a dining table between them
on the pallet.
And on the table there is a
chessboard.
There's a chessboard
and a bottle of wine. And two wine glasses.
And a lamp. Those African Kenyan lamps. Yeah, that has a red in it. And you can feel the romance. You can feel like what's going on. Behind them, there's a painting of the clouds. In the clouds, where there's a Joker and other different, quirky movie characters there, and it's completely disassociates you from like what's going on, because you sort of have to like shut it off for you to concentrate on what they're going. And then later on, when she talks about murder, try to connect it to the image. When she talks about like all of it is in the figment of his imagination, you try to connect it to the image, and none of it makes sense. So that's set and props. So that's set, right? They were like, it's a gallery. They can't bring a lot of stuff. They're just gonna bring themselves and like, set up a little bit of like the living room, or like a romantic dinner conversation that really goes wrong, or at least that's what we thought. Then there's a chessboard, and the chessboard is really an opportunity, especially to play between these power dynamics, and play with this conversation of balancing the stage from one side to the other, where the masculine energy is talking and the feminine energy, and how she turns and becomes more masculine than he is, and so none of it is realized or used.
That was unexplored, like
entirely unexplored.
Just a decoration.
It was for decoration because she played 3 games. Or made 3 moves. It's a chessboard moves. And he didn't. And none of what they were talking about was connected to chess.
Busy chugging.
He was busy drinking the wine, which was like we know in the theater that it's not really wine, it's water mixed with juice. So
or blackcurrant.
Soda. And so if you ask me at the end of the day, I don't think I really tried to see what was working. And none of it was.
So as we were just trying to figure out what was working and how is the plot moving and how are the connections in between.
Where is the connection? Who's who? Why? There was also the main question of why he dies in the end. Because she asked him, "Can you die for me?" And it comes out of left like nowhere. And all of a sudden, I think what he's been drinking is what kills him. But also, he doesn't die there. He dies in prison because he's a prisoner and she's not there.
And she hasn't died here because she died previously
or was never even there ever, and all of it was him. And she's also called Pain, and so that could mean that it was his pain talking to him while he was in prison with what he had done, to which we don't know what he had done. Maybe killed her if he
so now that you as a director, the conversation of the choice of directing oneself, what do you think that so what should we explore when we choose to direct ourselves? For instance, when a performer chooses to direct themselves, is there something that they need to explore more to avoid this kind of overdoing one part and leaving another part.
It's a really hard thing to direct oneself. I think that's a conversation we're not having in the theater. It's like simple, like what is expertise, right? And what is expertise as an actor, and what is your expertise as a director, right? Because every time somehow I happened to be in this position last year, where it's such a difficult thing to do if you really care about the craft, you know, because somehow you have to remove the hat of the actor, put it aside, and wear the hat of the director, and you really have to find these like really different parts of yourself. You know, now I'm a director. What do I need? How do I work? You really have to clarify for yourself what that process is but first of all, you have to clarify the actor's process. And that's why it's so hard when these two things, and I just say, don't do it. You know, get a director, get someone. The director is the outside eye. It's a person who looks at the script that you've written and goes, this is shit, you know? And guess what? Actually, that's a dramaturg. Let's go back a little bit.
Yeah, super shit.
Then, after the dramaturg has worked on the super shit, then it's brought together and it's like, oh, this could work. This could actually move from page to stage, you know? And this is the conversation to which people don't want to have. They want to put themselves in every angle, including producing. How are you producing, directing, and acting
at the same time?
At the same time.
And figuring out the set design.
And also figuring out the set design and who's going to market for you.
Oh, but the light design was there.
And there was no. We can't even talk about lighting design or sound design. These things are like they're off. It's null and void for those two things. And so for me, like I get so passionate because at the end of the day, these two are actors and performers. And they are singers, and you know they're incredible, amazing artists. And I can understand if they had two like really understood that they can't work on this alone, like they're not going to get to the mark of it, you know, like at the end of it, what is the play about? You know, is it about this actress just shining and acting like herself as she always is? Like I was trying to find even the character in her. Where does the character separate from the person? You know, the actress herself. And I couldn't find it. And I could see how the man was struggling also to find himself into. And I'm talking about Orina.
The lower energy that
the other actor was bringing, or this way of talking like a robot, like you're saying something. And we've come to support them, obviously. We've come here because we wanted to see what their work is about. This work that has been shown in 3 places so far. And you think like by the time it's getting to the third iteration, it has been pushed somewhere. They've listened to something someone has said. That's what I'm curious about, actually, to ask them whether how it's changed until here, because I can't speak for that. I've not been watching it. And so at the end of it, just let the acting be acting. Even if you're actors, okay? Then get a director, okay? And then this director would then look at it and go, where is my vision? Where do I locate myself in this work? And then in the work, when they locate themselves, then they help you and them. So the actors, they help the actors and themselves and everybody else involved in the production to realize, you know, this conversation that you are trying to have that you have not gotten to. I just want to say that this work, the plot falls apart because they have not gotten to the thing that they want to say. You know, at the end of it, because is it about perjury? Purgatory? Is it about perjury?
Even perjury itself, because there's a court of law.
Because there's a court of law somehow.
Is
it about feminist toxicity or female toxicity? Or is it about mental health? And what part does mental health play in this?
And is it about the struggles in the marriages?
Or struggles in marriages, or like a woman cheating, you know, and how that conversation is had.
And or is infertility also, because the woman donated her womb to another woman for pay, and she really liked the fact that she donated her womb for pay. And bought a nice dress and nice shoes and all.
And loved her career. You know.
So I think we need to get.
I think the conversation starts here, guys. Get people who do the work that they do, and if it wants to be one of you, then cast other people and let one of you or the two of you direct.
There's power in collaboration. There's power in working with other people. and realizing your vision together and not,
because it gives it
individually.
depth.
Yes.
It makes it really powerful. I mean, to me, that's a skeleton before it becomes, the full being, before it has even breath to breathe.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Yeah, we made
and
this.
it's not just, actually, let me just say, before we walked out, we spoke to a couple of audience members who walked out of there entirely confused.
What was the story about?
Yeah, what was the story about? How can I sit throughout and I didn't know that the lady was dead. Actually, that I didn't know that the lady was never alive or never even there ever. It
was just the moments they had before she died. That was like, now that's the story that we didn't see.
But that's the conversation we should have. The page is just, you can write. Writing is very, anybody can explore their imaginations with writing. Scour it until they get to like whatever bottom core that they want. However, realizing it visually, telling a story, it's actually storytelling. It's a whole art.
Yes.
Okay? Because you are inviting an audience to go on this journey with you, where you're taking them from point A to point Z, or point Z to point A, and they have to be with you. They have to buy into your suspense of disbelief.
Yes.
And if you lose them, the show is
has lost its intention
completely. You cannot at the end start to fix it by a conversation, a feedback conversation. You lost it.
I mean, there's a reason why we decided to do this in black and white, because the characters died, and for us we also feel the story died. I mean, we
also felt like we died. We didn't connect to it whatsoever.
So let's just give a parting shot, maybe. To end it at this point.
Why don't you?
Thank you so much. I just want to tell the actors, directors, and everyone, let's do the work together. There's power in coming together and consulting, and even let's make it a normalcy by inviting the creatives or the industry players to come watch your work before you show it to every other person. Like, let's always welcome feedback, share before we share with everyone else.
Because what's the point of making? Why should I think that I'm brilliant, and my work is
super
dynamite, and at the end it's actually just super shit. It's a big
even
dookie.
Super shit is super.
But this is just garbage. I'm not saying that their show is garbage. I'm saying at the end of it, it might turn out that your work is actually null and void.
And you think it's super, and you don't want to share it to get all other perspectives,
and to care, like that you care enough for your work for you to give it dimension, dynamism. Otherwise, what?
Before Elsa gets angry and angry and angry, guys, we're gonna end it there, and always look forward to watching our reviews.
We love to bring them to you. We love watching productions, obviously. For us, it's the fact that we'd like to push the theater in Kenya to be more, to do more, to explore,
to reach more,
and to
also
connect.
True.
And for us to like really love ourselves and like each other and collaborate. Collaboration is everything, guys.
That's really powerful. Thank you, Esther, for being.
Thank you for being with us.
And thank you for watching us to the end. You're
Have
awesome.
a lovely weekend or night.
Have a great time. Bye.
Start of the week.